What is up, guys? Rick Kakis here, bringing you the latest Destiny 2 news and information. And today we have a bunch of really huge news coming out of E3. I thought I would get one day off, but turns out nope. Anyways, we're gonna dive right into this with firstly, news about Destiny 2's raid, or in fact, raids in general when it comes to Destiny 2. So, Luke Smith, which is the lead designer of Destiny 2, when speaking to Giant Bomb, actually said that there's an entirely new death penalty within Destiny 2's raids, and strongly suggested that the days of no revives in Destiny's raids are gone. This is incredibly huge news, because right now, the entirety of Destiny raid hard modes are just, you can't revive. That's really the main thing that differentiates them. But Luke Smith saying that, no, there is an entirely new death penalty coming into the fold within Destiny 2, that is huge, and quite frankly, I think that's really good news. I've always felt that the death penalty within the hard mode raids are kind of a cop-out, like just forcing you to keep wiping and wiping and wiping when there's deaths caused by, let's be honest, several reasons. Sometimes your teammates were actually at fault, but a lot of times it was a glitch, it was some weird random crap that happened, the sword despawned on Crota, you know, whatever happened, and now you just have to wipe, you just have to wipe again and again. And quite frankly, it made it more frustrating than hard at a lot of points. But I hope that in Destiny 2, with this new revive mechanic, they focus on introducing new mechanics and potentially new enemies, like new boss attacks, etc. within hard mode raids. That would really differentiate them and, in my opinion, be a much better system than what we have right now in Destiny. So I think this is really good news. But keeping on the topic of raids, we have a little bit more raid information involving the built-in matchmaking system within Destiny 2 called guided games. Now, guided games are essentially a way of matchmaking with different clans. So, you as a clan, if you have 5 people and you're looking for a 6th for a raid, let's say, this was the example used before, you'd send out an open invitation, and people looking for these invitations could choose the clan they most associate with, the clan they like the best, and accept that invitation and join that team, and then you'd have 6 and you'd go and do the raid. Well, Luke Smith actually answered today, more specifically, how that matchmaking would work by saying that the matchmaking, the guided games, were only available for normal difficulty activities. So the heroic raid is not going to be able to facilitate guided games. So in Destiny 2, if you want to crack at the hard mode raid, you are still going to have to get a group of friends together or use an LFG. So that's some news regarding that. But moving on, we have much more exciting news. We have an entirely new gun type that was just confirmed today. It's called linear fusion rifles, and they belong to the power weapon category. Now, this includes pretty much all one-hit kill weapons, for PvP at least, in this same category. So, sniper rifles, fusion rifles, grenade launchers, and rocket launchers all belong to this power weapons category, and now linear fusion rifles. Now, what these are is, instead of shooting multiple bolts like a normal fusion rifle, they shoot one single bolt after a charge up time with extreme accuracy that does a ton of damage. Now, if that sounds familiar, it's because it is. It's exactly like the Sleeper Simulant exotic heavy fusion rifle in Destiny right now, but made into an entire gun type. So there's going to be, green, blue, purple, linear fusion rifles from a bunch of different weapon foundries with a bunch of different randomized perks. And this is absolutely awesome. I cannot wait to try out linear fusion rifles in Destiny 2. Whenever a new gun type is added to the game, or in this case to the next game coming, it is a huge deal because it massively increases your gameplay diversity and choice within game. And I can't wait to see what different random perks you can get for linear fusion rifles. Like in PvE, maybe getting a really good legendary one and getting a bunch of magazine size increasing ones to have a 6-round sleeper simulant. Oh my god, that would be so fun to use. Even in PvP, if there's perks to increase the charge time and you're able to get one-hit kills with them, they could be a powerhouse there as well. So this is really exciting news for Destiny 2. Just more choice, more guns, which is absolutely awesome. But moving on from there, and speaking of PvP a little bit, we have news about PvP game modes. It was confirmed today that there will be no Rumble game modes with Destiny 2's launch, so no free-for-all game modes. And this was said by Deej himself during the Fireteam Chat podcast. Now this is, of course, disappointing for many players out there who like free-for-all game modes, but it really seems like Destiny has like a vision of team play 4v4 PvP modes, and they are sticking to it. So I guess in that aspect, I've got to commend them there. But again, you'd rather have more playlists than less, I suppose. And hopefully in the future, if the call for it from the community is loud enough, Bungie will add it later in its lifespan. Moving on from there, we have even more really exciting news, this time about an all-new element of gameplay, an all-new activity in Destiny 2. This was mentioned by Luke Smith yet again during a Kotaku podcast. He talked about the never-before-heard Flashpoints. Now, that name may change, it's the development name they're using, but what Flashpoints are is that every single week in Destiny 2, there's going to be a featured location. So it sounds like, you know, a featured planet. So this week, we're going to have the European Dead Zone as the Flashpoint area, for example. Now, what this means is that during a Flashpoint week in the area, special stuff and special monsters are going to show up, according to Luke Smith. Also, there are treasure maps to find during these Flashpoint weeks. Quoting Luke Smith here, he said, "We wanted to be able to give players the option to go to these locations solo and get a powerful reward, similar to that of a Nightfall. So you can get Nightfall level rewards," and again, this is right out of Luke Smith's mouth, "from doing these Flashpoint, I guess, PvE events." Like, again, the wording is crazy and it sounds really awesome. It essentially sounds like one area per week is just going to be jacked up like crazy in terms of public events and enemies move against each other and all of that stuff, which of course is awesome. And if they are truly offering Nightfall level rewards, this gives a huge new thing for players to do in the endgame. Destiny's endgame and Destiny 2's upcoming endgame will always be big points of interest and debate and criticism, etc. Because, you know, just relying on the raid to be the be-all and end-all endgame of all things is kind of not the best. Having something like this, these flashpoints, could give people another activity to do every week, which is very, very exciting, and that's great news for Destiny fans. Now, moving on from there, we have some awesome new news coming from this same podcast for you lore fanatics. So, remember in The Taken King, when they introduced scannable items, you'd essentially go to certain items, there'd be an indication on screen, and you could, you know, take out your ghost, I guess, and scan that item, and your ghost would talk about it for a bit. It was Bungie's attempt at introducing the Grimoire cards somewhat into Destiny 2. Well, we now know in Destiny 2 there's going to be no Grimoire score. That is a thing. Well, Luke Smith said that there is going to be more scannable objects in Destiny 2 than ever before, and he said there's like a lot more. So that seems to be the way Bungie is doing lore in Destiny 2, is that you have all of these scannable items that you can go around the world finding these items and these statues and all of these relics and stuff, and then just hearing your ghost explain what the hell they mean. And I think that's much better and much more intuitive than having to go to a separate website and look up Grimoire cards. And guys, moving on, we have even more news. Firstly, coming from the Fireteam Chat podcast, Deej said that exotic quests will be back. So the exotic quests that are most notably in something like the Rise of Iron expansion, that you go out and do a certain exotic quest to get that exotic weapon, those are making a return in Destiny 2. This is a good thing. This was highly regarded as a great change from the pure RNG system that was in year 1, so expect some RNG weapons in Destiny 2, but a lot of exotic quests as well. Now, during the same podcast, it was also mentioned that the main way you're going to be getting loot in Destiny 2 is through engrams. Now this is very interesting, and it could be Bungie dialing back, for example, rewards for leveling up certain factions, where you always get a legendary like every time right now. They could be kind of dialing that back a little bit, focusing more on earning loot in the game, playing the game, getting drops, because quite frankly, right now, you don't get a lot of legendary engram drops when you're fighting enemies. You mostly just get all of your rewards at the end screen or in loot packages and so on. So a focus more on engrams doesn't necessarily mean that they're dialing back the amount of loot we're getting, but rather means that they're refocusing where we get it. And so guys, that is it for all of the new Destiny 2 news coming out of E3 today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it informative. Now if you did, please remember to help me out by simply rating and especially sharing this video. If you guys want to see more Destiny 2 videos, be sure to slap that subscribe button. And if you actually want the subscribe button to do anything, make sure to press the bell beside subscribe so you're actually notified of new uploads. Now, if you guys want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter at RickKakis. That's linked in the description down below, as is my Twitch channel, which you can also follow. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day.